What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of At Home with Mark. Today, we have a very special guest, Mr. Brook Sutton from the Studio Nashville, who we recorded with back in October. So we have a lot to talk about you, and we'll talk a little bit about that project. But Brook, thanks for making time, buddy. I know you're really busy.
Oh man, it's great to be here. Thanks, Mark. It's good to see you again as well.
Yeah, man. Well, I'll make it back down there again. We got to do it again sometime.
Right on.
So really quick, business aside, my moderator BV's in here. If anybody has any questions or whatever, just pop the questions in. We'll be able to pop those up on the screen too if you have questions for Brooke. But otherwise, thank you, BV, as always. So, Brooke, I have a question for you.
What's up, man? Fire away.
Yeah. So I ask this as the first question to everybody, but like, do you have what's your earliest musical memory?
Man. It's my mother playing at the piano. That was the very, very beginning. I think I was probably I don't know, maybe 5 years old, something like that. Actually probably around about 4. And my mother we had this old piano roll or this old upright piano, and it had the old roll the I forget what you call that, but
Like the player piano?
it was a player piano, and it was just this gigantic thing. But she used to go and she'd play, and I'd listen to her play and just kind of run around, and then eventually, eventually she started putting me on the piano. And that was my first musical memory.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was your first instrument then?
I guess you could say it was really I don't know. I guess you could say it's my first instrument. It was the first instrument I started learning. That's for sure. I remember taking piano lessons, so
Okay.
that was cool. Yeah.
Okay. And did you grow up around Nashville? Like, are you originally from that area?
No, not at all. I'm actually from New Orleans.
Oh, okay.
And though the New Orleans area, but my family's all from South Louisiana. So, but yeah, I originate from the deep South.
Okay. Man, so yeah, you went from one music mecca, like you probably soaked up a lot there, and then went to another music mecca.
Yeah,
That's crazy, man.
yeah, it was pretty cool. I miss New Orleans a lot. I love the music and I love the musicians, but this is also a great place too. Nashville's been really good to me and my family. So
Yeah, man. Yeah.
yeah,
So did you meet Jeff Clapp in New Orleans?
man, yeah. So I know Jeff Clapp from New Orleans. I also know him through a friend and also a fine drummer named Rob Crawford. And yeah, we've connected through also multiple sources in New Orleans. We know a lot of the same people. So yeah, Jeff's a good friend and awesome musician.
Yeah, he's killer, man. He was on the show a while back, and then I saw him post something, like it was a picture of you doing a gig with him, and I was like, "What? What? How did I not connect that earlier than this?"
Oh man,
yeah, he's awesome, dude. He's the first time I saw him play was I don't think it was it was pre-pandemic, and I think it was when he was in North Carolina and he started playing with Charlie a lot.
oh yeah.
And I saw some Charlie did like a live stream on Instagram, and it was just a duo. It was just him and Jeff. And I've been a huge Charlie Hunter fan my whole life, basically. Yeah. And but when I saw Jeff, I wasn't even listening to Charlie. I was so entranced by him because he's got such a touch on. I mean, do you love playing with him as a bassist?
Oh, absolutely. It's exciting. We connect, which is really, really cool. I really love Jeff's his his touch, but his dynamic and his energy and all that is really, really it's addictive as a player. I mean, I love that coming from the drum set, especially. So
yeah,
that's one thing I love about Jeff. He writes some awesome songs too. So
yeah,
that's cool.
Dude,
yeah.
He's great. He did the whole show from his car. He was driving from Texas to Greensboro, I think, and he just had his phone. I was like, dude, are you okay, man? Can you do this? This does not seem safe.
That sounds like Jeff. That's awesome.
He's great. He's so great.
Yeah. He gets it done. That's for sure.
Yeah, man. So back to the piano. So that's where you started doing everything. So how long did you take lessons for? You said you started doing piano lessons.
Yeah, I think I took them all the way up to elementary school. When I started taking lessons, I didn't love the piano. It wasn't all that exciting to me at first. And that first instrument when you're learning, your parents want you to take some lessons. It's like you kind of fight it a little bit because you're a young kid. I did all that stuff, um, and so I did that for a while, and then I think I was in the fourth grade. I got into brass instruments, so I started playing. The first instrument was baritone.
Oh,
A
okay.
baritone, yeah. And growing up in South Louisiana, it was all about parades and marching and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, man. That's
yeah,
dope.
that was fun.
That's great. I told my wife the other night, we were watching something and it was about some funeral or death. I was like, did I ever tell you, like, when I die, I want you to have a second line at my funeral? Like, if I die before you, like, I don't want it to be sad. I want there to be a second line going on.
You need to have a party. I mean, it's good to grieve, but let's remember the good times too.
Yeah, man, let's celebrate
Yeah.
life. She was like, dude, first of all, you can't talk over a movie with something that heavy. You have to pause. She's like, you have to at least pause it when you say something like that. All right, so brass instruments, getting into that stuff.
Yeah.
So when did string instruments enter your life?
So I played trumpet. I played trumpet for about 11 years, and all through, and up into high school, I was really getting pretty good at it. But then I had to get braces because my mouth was all screwed up. And when the braces came off, I just couldn't play anymore.
Yeah.
Not the way I had. And so I was a little discouraged, but there was a sousaphone opening. So I started playing sousaphone. I was like, man, this is cool. I get to play all the bass lines. That's pretty fun. And I said, I want to do more. But I couldn't like tote a sousaphone everywhere. So I started playing electric bass. And that's when that kind of kicked into gear. That and my brother has always dabbled with guitars, and of course I'm his younger brother, so I always went into his room and grabbed his guitar and messed it all up and detuned it. But it was fun, and so string instruments were always kind of in the back of my mind.
Right.
Yeah.
What were you?
High school.
Yeah. What were you listening to at that time? Like, what were like some seminal records, like in the beginning of exposing you to, like more like secular music? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I mean, well, first off, I listen to a lot of different kinds of music, but I mean, like every kid from the '90s, it was Nirvana and Soundgarden and Pearl Jam. I was a Pearl Jam freak for a long time, like you, and so those were some like Red Hot Chili Peppers. Of course, yeah, I wanted to be Flea, so I was trying to do all that stuff. And Primus, I was listening to Primus then too, and then marching band music and New Orleans music and that kind of stuff. So it's kind of different directions, but
Yeah.
that's about what I was doing when I was 15. Yeah.
But it's no surprise that you've ended up in the career path that you've ended in, because we're not ended, that's you're currently in, because
God, I hope it's not over.
No, it's not over yet. But you know what I mean? It's like, it's no surprise that you are where you are now because of your breadth of experience of listening and playing different styles of music and being open-hearted to a lot of different styles too, because I'm sure that there's a lot of people who are horse blinders, like in terms of being a producer or an engineer like yourself, where you're really good at doing like rock, because that's what you kind of listen to your whole life or whatever it may be. Whereas you can be like, oh, I know what you're going for. You know what I mean? Like when we came in, like,
yeah,
you clearly knew the spirit in which we were going for things to capture the performance. So it's like, it's no surprise to me that you're so good at what you do because of that. Open-ended kind of like music is like, give me whatever, I'll lap it up kind of thing.
I love that. I like it when music incorporates different elements from all over the place, and it's really, I think it makes it more interesting and more real. People can really put their thing into it. So, but thanks for saying all that. I appreciate that.
Oh, dude, no, totally. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about, I mean, since we're both Pearl Jam nerds, and there they are behind me right there. I have that Pop Funko set that came out like a couple years ago. That's Pearl Jam. But anyway, so where were you when you first heard that band?
So it's still the most memorable and coolest concert I think I ever went to as a kid. it was the Blood Sugar Sex Magic tour, which had Pearl Jam opening up, then it was Smashing Pumpkins, and then it was a 3 bill night.
Wow.
And that was it was in New Orleans at what's the name of that theater? Anyway, it doesn't matter, but that's where I was. I was still in New Orleans, and I had all of my grunge heroes right in front of me. It was pretty fun.
That's crazy. That probably was that before 10 came out?
That was right before 10 came out.
Yeah.
No. I think
it could have been, because when they were on the road with him, that was like super early, because they
super
broke
early.
so fast.
It was super early, but it was after 10.
Okay.
It was after 10. I don't think I had the record then. I think I just heard like a live on the radio or something like that. And I was like, that's that band. And then I fell in love with them at the show, which was cool.
Man, that probably made such a big impression on you for you to like really kind of experience that in the moment, and then kind of translate that into a lifelong love of the band type thing. But
oh yeah, well, it was also like my first like loud concert, like big loud rock and roll concert. That was my first experience with that. So
yeah,
that was fun.
What did you think of the new Chili Peppers record? Have you listened to it yet?
I haven't checked it out yet. I just get so busy. I listen all day long, Mark.
I know. So, I know it's hard to do that.
It is. Yeah.
It's pretty good, man. Like, it's funny to see John Frusciante just kind of like ebb and flow and coming in and out of that band as much as he has. It's a little bit funny, but I will say the new single that they've been playing, like on Howard Stern, and they've done a bunch of like appearances on late night. It's interesting because it's almost like the Who meets like the Chili Peppers. It's really it's really strange. It's good though. It's pretty cool.
Well, now I need to go check it out.
It's good, man. And there's I think Rick Rubin, I was listening to his podcast is called like Broken Record. Do you ever listen to his podcast?
I've been doing the push. I was listening to no. The answer is no. I haven't been listening to his podcast. Mainly, I just don't have enough. I don't make enough time for myself to do that. But I did listen to him and Brian Eno on the Pushkin podcast. That was pretty hip.
Yeah.
But I do love Rick Rubin, and I love all the things that he's done. So
yeah, it's cool. It's like Anthony and John Frusciante and Rick Rubin just chatting it up.
Kind of the making of.
Yeah, and definitely like, John, what's the deal? Why do you keep leaving and coming back to this band? So, which his answer was really interesting. Like, Anthony was like saying that John, when they got back together, apparently like John was talking to Saul Flea somewhere and was like, hey, we should, get together and hang out sometime. And Flea was like, let's get together and jam. So he and Chad and John got together and jammed without Anthony Kiedis knowing.
Right.
And then Flea went to Anthony and was like, yo, guess who I just hung out with and played music with? And he wants to come back in the band, maybe. So it's a funny story, but you should check it out. BB just put, I have a Wilson pedal that Flea and the guys signed for me when I was at the Untitled Chapter.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's pretty sweet, man.
I've never met those guys, but I'd love to.
Oh, dude. They seem like such great spirits.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So when you get to high school and you're playing bass more, at what point do you start playing with some other folks in more of that like rock setting, instrumentation wise?
Oh, I mean, we had a high school band. I couldn't tell you the name of but we were playing everything from, CCR to Led Zeppelin to Van Halen, and then Alice in Chains, and started doing all that stuff. We were playing, high school parties, getting drunk and having fun. But that's when I started actually playing in a band and doing things like that.
And were you primarily the bassist at that time?
Yeah, I was just playing bass. Had this gigantic rig. It was like, I don't know. I think it was an 18 and a 15. And, it's this old hard key thing, or no, it was a PV. I don't know, but it was huge. It was way loud. And I thought it was awesome. I had made my own bass, my own jazz bass.
Really?
Yeah, it was fun. I painted it in the garage, and it was fun to do all that when I was coming up. So
like a parts caster kind of thing?
Yeah, it was
did you actually build it?
It was a parts caster kind of thing.
Okay.
But I had no idea what I was doing. I was like, I think this goes here, and I think this goes here,
Right.
because I didn't have an instrument. It was my first instrument, so
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
but
dope, dude.
it was fun.
So you kind of lean more on that, I would say, like, the vintage stuff, I would think. Like, the studio is indicative of that, just being there and being in that environment. And by the way, guys, so, just to kind of like Brooke is sitting in his studio, and that's the Studio Nashville. And it is an amazing room. I've never heard, Brooke, I've never heard drums on any record that I've done sound as good as how you captured
Ah,
the drums.
thank
Like,
you,
for
man. I
real.
appreciate that. Well, I definitely appreciate that. It also has a lot to do with the musicians, you know. So
Yeah. But you gotta have the right environment to you know what I mean? As far
yeah,
as, like,
totally.
inspiring, like, I'll never the rest of my life forget that experience. Like, it was one of the most inspiring places I've ever recorded music in. It's just a great studio. So,
Uh, that's really cool, Mark, and that means a lot to me. Thanks for saying that. That's really awesome, man. We had a great time, didn't we? That was fun.
oh, it was super fun.
Yeah, it was
Super
fun.
fun.
It was groovy. It was rocking. And we had all that time and space to like really get into it. That was fun. It was good.
Yeah.
Good session.
Yeah, and when we got back, Tyler, the bass player, so Tyler brought his he had did he have his P or his J? But
He
then
had
he had that other, like, high end,
it was
like,
a modern build kind of thing.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
what was cool is when we got back, he was like, "Dude, like, I never in a million years," like, when you were like, "Hey, would you care? Your stuff sounds great, but would you mind trying this Epiphone hollow body bass?"
Right.
And he was like, "Sure, whatever." And then when we got back here, he was like, "Dude, like, that was such a transformative experience in
Oh
terms of,
wow.
like, being open to playing an instrument for the specific song that fits the vibe, that whatever, which it's stuff that we know, but we kind of take for granted. You know what
Sure.
I
Well,
mean?"
yeah, you got your gear, you got your stuff, it's comfortable, That's awesome. That's really cool to hear. That's pretty cool. Be
Yeah.
inspired by, sometimes inspiration can come from the smallest things, maybe that note resonates differently on a different instrument, so it makes you want to play differently, and that's awesome, you know.
Dude,
And he's
one
such a good player. I mean, he was ripping it up. So
yeah, I
that was
mean,
cool.
it was easy. I mean, it was so easy, like, you work so efficiently and so fast, and just it felt effortless, and to get as much as we got done in the day that we got it done, that was impressive, and that was the goal. I mean, I was like, "Let's go see what we can make happen in one
Yeah.
day," you know?
Yeah. It was cool.
Um,
We did everything.
yeah, we did, and
We
then
did it
some.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say too, with your studio and how things are set up, and just because, like, for frame of reference for everybody. So, Brooke's sitting behind the console, taking care of everything, miking everything up, doing the real hard work and the sweat that you don't see it when you listen to the music, but all of the way that the music was captured and stuff is totally like his brainchild, and how we played, he captured it. But the coolest part of the day is, and we've done this for years, and I don't know how many clients you have that play to a click, but we started to a click. And then Jono Ricks of the Wood Brothers was producing that day.
Yeah.
He was like, "Hey, what do you guys think about not doing it to a click?" We're like,
Okay.
"Sure." But I couldn't see the drummer and I could not see the bass player. I was in a separate room playing a grand piano.
Yep.
And it felt so good. Like, it already felt really good in the headphones and everything, where I felt like if I closed my eyes, I was just in the room with those cats. Um,
Yeah.
and not you can't say that about every studio you go to, man. Like, where people make things feel physically comfy around you, and you feel like you are given the freedom to artistically express yourself,
Yeah.
however it may happens in that 3.5 minutes. But to just like to do something like we did in one day and have you kind of orchestrate things in terms of making it flow, that was a huge weight off of all of us, like
Oh, that's great.
you and Jono. So,
Uh,
but
that's awesome. That's great to hear, Mark. Thank you. Thanks for
yeah,
saying all that. I mean, I'm pretty passionate about the process, and the process of recording and the process of creating. To me, it's very it's I'm very sensitive to it, and outside, anytime I have an intern, it's like, okay, I'm not going to teach you how to turn knobs. I want to teach you how to run a session. And, to me, I think the whole idea of making something like that work is to get out of your way and get the studio out of your way. The studio there should not be anything, hindering that process and that movement and progression forward. So that is always my goal. I'm glad you had that experience, because that means that I was able to do what I've always wanted to do. So
Yeah.
that's great. Cool.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, man, like I do want to come back at some point.
I'd love for you to come back, man. That'd be great.
I'm not driving down next time, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
Man, dude, that was a haul, man.
That is all, dude.
I mean, I don't like flying with guitars, and I brought a very expensive custom shop Strat with me.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't want to get on a plane with this.
Which sounded awesome, by the way. That thing was ripping.
Dude, but that Princeton, dude, I've had so many people hit me up, and here's a couple people. So my buddy Sean, he, when I sent it to him and stuff, and he was like, "Oh, what were you playing through?" and things like that. And I've had a ton of people asking, "What amp did you bring your 2-Rock?" And I was like, "No, I was playing through this probably late 60s Princeton."
Yeah.
But like you were saying, like it really does. I played differently on that. I mean, I was still myself. I can still hear my nuances and stuff, but like I definitely was reacting differently because I had a very small pedal board. It was just a boost pedal and a fuzz. And that was it.
I was going to say, you didn't use much, really.
No.
That guitar tone came right out of your hands.
Yeah, no, it was great. I mean, and I've never played through an old Princeton like that, and it really does, put a smile on your face and make you put a little lift in your step, man. It's cool.
Right
and
on. Yeah.
That's what's cool about the studio down there, and everybody wants to check it out. BV just popped the studio website in there.
Oh, thanks.
Because isn't everything on there, like as far as gear and like what is available?
I mean,
mostly.
It is also pretty out of date. I do a lot more with analog now, and the console's different, but for the most part, it's all there. Yeah.
He was asking about this too. 24 channel 8+.
Oh yeah. So I still have that console. That was a really hip console. That Soundcraft. And basically I kind of took it apart and modded it. Matter of fact, the One Drop of Truth record we did for the Wood Brothers was recorded on that console, and it just has a really cool sound. Now what I'm using is I actually have a Harrison 950, which is Harrison consoles are built here in Nashville.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, but it's an older one. I got it. It's a long story, but I got it out of I don't know if I can say where I got it. I didn't steal it.
Was a mask involved and a handgun? Okay.
No, it was decommissioned from Channel 5 here in Nashville. So it's an old broadcast console. So
that's awesome.
I think that was the question, right? Did I answer the question properly?
Yeah, he was just asking about would the Desert Island console be an SSL API Neve?
I didn't answer the question at all. Let's see. Desert Island. This is a hard question for you to answer. People ask me questions like this all the time, like, "What's your favorite microphone?" or "What's your favorite headphones?" or any of that stuff. It's always really hard for me to say because I don't care what the name says. If it works, then it's my Desert Island tool. That's kind of how I look at it. But obviously, if I had my druthers, I'd always go for an API or a Neve. Either one of those are always going to be amazing for anything.
Right.
I also love my Harrison. It's pretty cool. So
yeah, is that what we used? Is that what you were using with
we cut on the Harrison?
Okay, yeah. It's because it sounds great. I mean, do you prefer? Because I know you have a tape machine there too, right? Do you have a 2-inch? And okay.
I have an old MCI 2-inch from the early 80s, like a 1981 model or whatever, but it's now been converted from 24-track to 16-track 2-inch, so much bigger tape bands. It's cool.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah,
so, that's cool, man. I mean, I think as far as the sounds that you were capturing, and even like talking about the Wood Brothers records, like, because what was the first Wood Brothers record you worked on?
One Drop of Truth. That's the one that we met. Okay. I met them in the recording of that one. So
Okay, cool.
About half of that was done at my first location.
Okay. How did you meet those dudes?
So I met Oliver through his wife Rebecca, who was studio mama at Zach Brown's studio, Southern Ground, and she was having a birthday party, and I was in this old church. That was my first studio location, and she wanted to have a birthday party with a stage and a band, and she wanted to invite a lot of people, and so we did that, and it was fun. It was great, and that night I met Oliver, and he's like, "Man, this place is pretty cool." And I'm like, "Thanks, Oliver. It's great." And anyway, so that's when we met, and he came and cut a demo, which that's never really the case. Uh, but
Right.
yeah, so we did that, and that's how we got started.
Okay.
So
That's cool.
that's,
So it's what's funny too, Brooke, is this is not the first, not the second, but the third of my shows that has been done in your studio.
oh, is it
Because
really?
Jono did it first, and
Uh
then I had Oliver on 2 seasons ago, and now you, and you guys all did it from there.
Oh,
Because
you
when
got the same shot?
no,
Okay.
it was the reverse. Because when Jono was on, he was sitting at the piano. The piano was in that room, and it was facing
Yeah.
this way.
Yeah.
And then Oliver, I don't know where he was, but he showed me the chicken coop and everything. He walked around and
Oh,
showed
yeah.
me. But
That's great.
because I had him on when he put his last solo record out. We were talking about that. But
That was a fun record to make too.
yeah, dude,
Yeah.
everything. It's funny because, and I've told you this too, and fanboying out about those guys, but like those guys are like, I have 2 stickers on my truck, Brooke. There's a Wood Brothers sticker and there's a Pearl Jam sticker.
Yep.
And I feel like so lucky to have even been in that room and record in that room, but like to talk to you guys and hear out like these amazing stories about music and capturing. And because like the story behind recording with them and working on One Drop of Truth. First of all, that record sonically, that was probably when that record came out to date, that was my favorite sounding Wood Brothers record.
The One Drop of Truth record?
Yeah.
I love the way that record sounds too. So it really came out
Really,
really great. Yeah.
oh my God, really great. And then when Kingdom in My Mind came out and the whole thing about Alabaster and how you guys were setting up, you had the last inputs. Tell that story really quick,
Oh,
because
man. Yeah, yeah. So so I lost my lease at the previous location, and we decided to do this together. So we're all here now at the Studio Nashville, and when we were putting it together and building it, I was doing all the wiring myself. So I was making the patch bay, and I had the very last wire to punch down in the patch bay, but they're already setting up in the room, like ready to go. So I'm running out with a couple of microphones, like just putting some things up, and I had just finished wiring everything, and basically ran to the tape machine and hit record. And those first few notes that you hear on Alabaster, those were the first things recorded in the studio. So that big drum plop bump, that's it's pretty
yeah,
awesome.
dude,
Yeah.
his drums always sound so good, man.
Yeah.
Like
I'm spoiled, man. Jono is he's so good at getting tones and sounds.
yeah,
It's tough sometimes when he's not the the drummer
right.
for me to work with. But
Have you learned stuff as far as on the job, like from working with those guys or working with anybody? Like, has there been things that have been like, now
oh
I have a totally different kind of approach to doing this? Like, even like drums, for instance.
Oh man, every day, every day. That's why I think I love what I do so much, is because to me every day is like going to school, and especially working with the Wood Brothers like I do. I mean, love it. I love that we're all in the same room together working through things. I learn so much from them all the time. They're so open and free with their creative process, but also um, calculated, which is also nice. There's a nice balance and marriage of all that stuff. So I learn something from them all the time in the process, and sometimes we learn things together, and sometimes it's like, oh, I didn't realize I should know that. But
Yeah,
that's what I like about making records and producing records and recording. It's always something to learn.
yeah. I
Yeah.
love your energy and everything when you're working with you is so good, dude.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
It's like this.
Likewise.
It's just fun. It's just, dude, it was so fun, man. Like I'm still on a high from it. Like I came home and my wife was like, "How was it?" And I'm like, "Dude," and that's all I could say. I was just like, it was amazing, and and I feel like too, what I really appreciated because I've been going through a lot of vocal like pains over the past 5 to 6 years, and you got me to the point where you're like, okay, we're you're doing it, like let's do another couple takes kind of thing. But like that's always the biggest stressor for me is singing on records. Like I can play
Oh yeah.
guitar all freak and piano all freaking day
Yep.
and be like super happy with my performance, but singing I'm just like, ugh. Like sometimes I'm just like, sometimes the day the physiology is not working, like it's
Yeah.
just
I mean,
but
it's a living, breathing instrument,
mm-hmm.
so it's never going to be. It's very difficult to me to maintain a consistent level of performance with an instrument that gets tired. You know what I mean? You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
but to me, that's a scary instrument. I'm not a singer at all. I'll sing some backgrounds and stuff, but I don't know how. Like you did awesome. Like you got in there and you went after it and you did it and you hunt. But I don't think we spent that much time doing vocals. It didn't take that long.
no, we probably did like 5 passes, and then we took a break when Gabe got there to do the B3
Yeah.
stuff and whatnot, and then I went back and maybe did 2 more passes. But you did such a good job of like listening to how my voice sounds and then finding the right mic, because I think originally we had a different mic, and then you're like, you
We
know
did.
what, I have a better idea, and that mic sounded fantastic on my voice. So
Well, that just again, just getting the equipment out of the way of the
yeah,
performer is to me the thing, and that means picking out the right microphone that allows your instrument to shine because that's the sound of your voice. That is you. It's not
yeah.
the mic. It's not the microphone. It's you. And
Dude,
you sounded great. It was fun.
well, I appreciate that, but I
Yeah.
think a large part of like being able to perform great and do what you're doing is to have the support behind you and the
Yeah.
cheerleading squad that's like, dude, you got this, and that's what you guys did that day. So it was amazing. But so back to like Wood Brothers though, really quick, because I want to talk about when you guys, because are we allowed to talk about if whether or not they are working on new music right now?
I don't know. Uh,
Well, on past records,
I'll just say this: a band like the Wood Brothers, they're always working on new music.
right?
So
So like let's talk about the last record that you worked on with them. Uh what is the like what is the work day like working with those guys in terms of how you approach handling the session? Because you said that they're very free form, and I know that they'll do is they'll sit on a groove to find a song.
mhm.
So that like, that process during the time when they're doing that, what are you doing? Are you like, that doesn't sound right, let me get a different mic? Like what's going on when they're kind of in their zone?
Yeah, I mean well. First off, that's a really good question. But it's also that's really just like one process, and there's different processes that kind of take place. There's different methods to getting to the song. It might be them rehearsing it and then recording it, which that has a different feel. And then there's like what you just said, which we did, which was very much how Kingdom of My Mind was recorded. Kingdom in My Mind was recorded where they grooved, and then we took those grooves and we made things out of it. Um, what's a workday like? Yeah, I mean, if they're out there grooving and jamming, I'm constantly listening to I might listen to Oliver's guitar and kind of go, okay, he's doing that part. That sounds pretty cool, and I'm kind of working it. And then he changes the part. It doesn't sound the same, so I might go out and run out and change a microphone or try something different with a different preamp or something like that. So I'm in constant motion as well, um, and that is fun for me because
Hmm.
they're cool with me like finding things, and that's how we find sounds sometimes.
Yeah.
I always joke with John. I say he gets one microphone, with the drums, because to me the best drum sounds I've ever gotten with him has always been with one mic.
Yeah.
One mic for the drums. That's it. That's all you need.
Yeah.
But I never would have gotten to that without because those drum sounds on Alabaster. That's one microphone.
Really?
Yeah.
Just an overhead?
Yeah, just to bring it all back around full circle. It wasn't an overhead. I can't tell my trade secret. No, it was just a mono mic out in front of the kit, and it just was the right distance with the right sounds at the right time.
That's
You know.
impressive, Brooke, because that sound and even, like, how crispy the hat is. The hats
Oh,
are, you know?
it's
Woo,
cool. It's
man.
cool.
BV was asking about I know that mic that I sang through, that was like a one-off. Didn't someone build that? Like, what was the deal with
Oh,
that mic?
yeah, that was not an SM7. That was my friend Preston Tate White. He is making custom microphones, and that was a custom like a U67 sounding microphone. But he actually makes the diaphragms and everything, so it's totally handmade, hand built, and custom made.
Yeah.
But basically, like a U67.
And it sounded amazing. Like, super dynamic too, man, like,
Yeah,
moving in on it or off of it and stuff.
yeah.
It was a great mic.
It is a great mic. It's one of my favorites. It's one of my favorites for sure. I use it every day. So
Nice.
yeah.
What do you think about all the, like, mic modeling stuff that's out there? Have you tried any of the
Like
Slate audio or any of that stuff? I know you're such a vintage guy. It's like it's a
well,
stupid question to ask, but I'm just curious.
it's a great question to ask. And the thing is this, because I was talking with somebody. Actually, I was talking with Chris the other day. We were talking about compressors and how he could put something in Logic and just hit buttons and try all these different compressors. And I was like, that's cool. I don't like any of them because they're not the real thing. But you know, they give the characteristic really, really well. And these companies have done a great job with their modeling. And I'm not knocking the companies at all. And I still use that stuff, you know. But as far as the mic modeling is concerned, I mean, there are just physical differences in mic design that it's hard to convince me that a modeled U47 is going to sound like a U47
Mhm.
truly, you know. But if I'm on a budget and I would need to make a record in my bedroom, then and I can afford that mic, then I might do that. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not totally knocking it. It's not really an answer to your question. What do I think about them? I think they're okay. I think they're
Just, like,
okay.
skating around it.
Yeah, just I'm not going to sit here and say they suck, but because the technology, the truth is, technology today is so much. It has progressed so much since the '60s and the '50s and all the great records that we all grew up listening to. It's hard to buy a bad thing, really,
Mhm.
to make music. You can make a record on your iPhone now, and it sounds listenable. You know,
Totally. Yeah.
so not that anyone should. Just saying.
You should go to the Studio
You need
Nashville.
to come here to make it. Yeah, so that's my long-winded answer about modeled microphones.
Well, I mean, I think that what's impressive to me about the amount of gear and stuff that you've amassed, which like the B3 and the upright that are in there and everything, all the gear that's in there, was a lot of that in the first studio, that church that you were talking about, or has this been like
Uh,
acquired recently in the past
thi
5 years?
this has all been acquired over a long period of time. Um, the the B3 was not with me. The upright and the grand were. Uh, the Wurlitzer was not. The Rhodes was. It was just I've been collecting this stuff for a long time. Like you mentioned, have a lot of gear. I do, and it's always one piece at a time. Oh, I need this for this thing. It's like building your craftsman toolkit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it's so fun to walk into a room like that, being a guitarist and a pianist and seeing all the cool stuff. Like, because when we first walked in there and you're like, are you cool just using this Princeton? And I'm like, yeah, I think it's fine. Like, that would be fine. And then I saw you have a Bandmaster, right? Isn't that blonde
No,
Bandmaster?
it's a Baseman
Or is it
100.
Basement? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I saw that too, and I was like, but that thing's calling my name too a little bit.
Well, I also was gonna. I think we tried it. No, it wasn't. Okay, so you're talking about the '61, the Tweed. That's
The
a Bassman. That's just
okay.
a regular. Yeah, that's a 61 Bassman. That's the one I think you're talking about.
Yeah, and I'm sure that thing sounds glorious.
It does. I have to say, I really, really love it.
I
So
know. I knew it. I knew it. Next time, I might want to use that amp.
yeah, well, you should
So,
come on down.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
But all the other so like the other cool thing about the studio is so he's in like Brooks in the main live room.
Yeah.
And then behind you, you've got those 2 isolation booths, right?
That's
So,
yep.
yep. So we had the guitar amp in the one on the left, and then the bass amp was in the one on the right.
Yep.
And then they have this cool, like right behind Brooks' head is this cool door that goes through, and they have like a maintenance room where they like do maintenance on amps and all that stuff. And like you're fixing gear or whatever it is. And then if you go straight through that room, that's like the Wood Brothers gear room, right? Where they keep all their stuff. Like, cause
Yeah.
I saw all of like Chris's Hofner's and like Oliver's K's
Yep.
and stuff, his amps and stuff. But then the control room is you come around the corner through a kitchen and then you're in the control room. So it's a beautiful kind of like circle layout and there's plenty of separation. But like, dude, it is just like the most fun. I took so many pictures, Brooke, because like even like the bathroom with that Beastie Boys mat in the bathroom and stuff. And what's that quote that's on the wall? That because I needed to hear that day. I can't remember what it says.
Just breathe. Everything will come out all right, or something like that.
Yeah.
That's right.
That was like right before I went to sing my vocal. So I like went to pee, washed my hands. I'm like, yeah, it will be fine.
It'll
will
be
totally
fine. Totally fine. And gradually descend into chaos. That's another one.
Yeah. But it's just like such a creative space. Like I highly recommend if anybody can be recording music in Nashville, like don't go anywhere else. Like that is the coolest place. I know that there's a ton of studios in Nashville, but like his studio is so vibey. It's so cool. So last thing I wanted to ask you is so because you've played and toured a lot, right? With the bass.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I have.
So what is the last tour that you were on? Like who you been? I know you played with Jeff a little bit recently.
Yeah, I never really toured with Jeff. I have been playing bass for a vocalist named Jamie Paul, and she's a jazz vocalist, and I've had that gig for a long time, and we haven't really been touring much since the pandemic, and my touring days it's kind of slowed down now that I'm I'm doing the studio full time, so I don't go out as much. But yeah, Jamie Paul,
Okay.
yeah, she's
Is
cool.
that more like
Check her out. It's like straight ahead jazz kind of stuff, and
I was gonna say, are you playing upright on that gig or are you playing electric?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I mostly play upright. I do play electric, but it's usually upright. So,
What's your electric rig now that it's not the PV?
there's nothing wrong with PV.
No.
Matter of fact, the bass tone we got was through an old PV preamp called a VMP.
Really?
That's 100% true.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's cool.
No
Anyway,
shade was thrown.
No shade. My rig now. I play. Well, I can probably show. Yeah, you can kind of see it there. Those 2 Ampeg cabinets that are stacked.
Oh, hell yeah.
And then there's a GK 800 RB that I play through for louder things. If I get to play a smaller club, then I like to bring the Bassman 100 out with just a 15, which is the one that's next to it. I don't know if you guys can see it's an old Mesa Boogie Road Ready case, and I teamed that up with the Bass 100. I really like it. It's cool.
Nice.
Kind of a modern meets vintage tone. And then I play a P bass. It's like a early 90s P bass and an old Epiphone Jack Cassidy model. Those are my 2 go-tos. Yeah.
Was that the bass that Tyler played?
Yeah.
The semi yeah. That thing sounded great. He was like the action was so crazy. I had to totally change how I was playing. But it was like I was fighting it, but in a good way, kind of thing. It was so great, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. That bass records really, really well. It's a good one. Yeah.
It sounded so woody and open, and it was perfect. Like you hit it on the head with
Tyler. That's Tyler. He figured it out.
Right.
So
is that Princeton? It was a silver face. Is it a 12 in there or was it a 10?
It has a 10 actually.
Okay.
That's a vintage modern. It's actually Oliver's amp. I'd have to look and see what the model. It's a warehouse speaker, but it's the green vintage, I think is what they call it.
Okay.
Anyway, it's a pretty cool rig, and it sounds really great.
It totally sounds great, dude.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
don't know. I don't know the exact year. I want to say it's like a 63, 64, something like that.
okay.
I have to go look at it.
Yeah. I wondered if I didn't know it was Oliver's. If I would have known that, I would have been a little bit more like, oh God, I don't want to blow this up if I
You've
step
been,
on a fuzz pedal.
well, you'd have been more careful, eh? Yeah, no, that's it also lives here at the studios. It's kind of a studio amp that he brought in. So he's always
Yeah.
got cool sounding gear. So
Yeah. I mean, I
yeah.
love like the quirky stuff. You know what's cool? And I maybe never would have done this until I experienced working with you guys, but my grandfather, he when he passed, he had a bunch of random, like he had this old knockoff J45 that was like an Eastern made J45 kind of thing that I
Mhm.
have hanging in my house. And then he had this old Harmony um Harmony Vogue, and it was at my parents' house forever. And when I got back from Nashville and I was up there, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take this home. You guys don't care, right? And they're like, oh, my dad was like, no, dude, take it. It's my dad's dad. He would want you to have it. And so I took it home and I'm like looking at it, and it's in terrible shape. I mean, it's
Right.
just like you can't string it. The nuts kind of falling
Yeah.
out and everything.
Like like they all do.
Yeah.
Right.
But I found out about Baxendale Guitars. Do you know about that guy?
No, I don't know that.
So Scott Baxendale refurbs old Silvertones and Harmonies and
Uh,
stuff.
in Atlanta, is this the same guy?
Yes, but he moved to New Mexico. So
Oh, okay.
he partnered up with the company called Stay Gold, and
Oh, okay.
they're doing that. They moved the shop to New Mexico, but yes, same dude. So like,
Yeah.
he's done stuff for like Jeff Tweedy and
Yeah.
Jason Isbell and a bunch of people. So I sent that guitar because I was like, that whole thing, I was like, what would Oliver do? Like, what would Oliver do with this guitar? He would fix it up and he would make it playable. So that was his main acoustic,
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know that I would have ever taken the time to be like, let me fix up this 1939 instrument to take
Yeah.
out and play in front of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's being worked on right now. I probably won't get it till July,
Yeah.
but it's such a cool experience when you go to a place like yours and you see the history. It's not just like, it's not a lesson in how to work in a studio with you guys because you make that easy. It's also a lesson in history of musical like lineage in a way.
Yeah.
It was like
That's
it
cool.
was a deeper meaning to me being there around that stuff and being exposed to, you know, old instrumentation. Something about it's just magical, man. It's really cool.
I mean, it's on all the things that you love.
Mhm.
An old 50s B3 is on so many records. Listen to Led Zeppelin, John Paul Jones playing cool keyboards and weird tones and all those things. And I love old jazz records too, and old pianos. That the grand piano that you played is like a 60s model grand piano
Mm,
from an old Baldwin, and it's just, I think the older instruments, they all have, like you were talking about the old guitars, like Oliver has all these cool old quirky guitars. What he's tapped into, and what I feel like I enjoy as well is, it's like these souls in the instruments themselves, and it's kind of neat when you have them all amassed in one area and they all speak differently. You know, it's
yeah.
cool. It's kind of cool. Yeah,
Nah,
it's
man.
inspiring. It is inspiring. And I'm glad you see it that way too. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and even like, I'm still like reveling at the fact that like all that stuff is just like it's just there for people to use, and you're like, here's what we got, like
Yeah,
what
that's right.
what do you want to do? Like, what do you want to use? And I'm super glad, Brooke, that you like just picked an amp out for me because I probably would have had like option paralysis if I would have, you know what I mean? Because it didn't. And you know what's crazy about that track for Think of You was the little staccato strat stuff and like fourth position that I was playing. That's my favorite like guitar tone that I think I've ever gotten on a record.
That's
And
awesome.
and I was playing it for another friend. I'm in another band we toured for a long time. We broke up and now we're kind of getting back together. Um, But he was like, my favorite thing in that whole song is that little staccato, like guitar part, that like Corey Wong thing you're doing in the background.
That's killing.
So it's just like, I don't know, man. It's so fun to be able to have those cool options to play through things that you maybe wouldn't otherwise have a chance to, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, it's funny. I walk around here sometimes. I'm like, God, there's so much stuff in here. It's like there's so much stuff. Like I got to keep up with all this stuff. Like inventory
Yeah.
sheets are a bitch. you know,
Yeah.
but um, but what's really cool about it is that everything that's in here, it pretty much gets used, like down to the shaker. You know what I mean? So that that's the way I think a room like this should be. People should be able to. I encourage it. Like, please play the instrument. That's what it's there for. I don't believe in having things around that don't get used. So I try to make sure it all gets used, and so far it's been successful.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's a
And
lot of studios in town too that do that as well, but it's fun.
yeah, but you're fun to work with. You're a nice dude and you're fun to
Well,
work with.
thanks. Thank you.
Is that, and last thing real quick. So the B3 you said, is that from the 50s? That B3 specifically?
I believe it's a 52, and it
Wow.
came from a buddy of mine. His name's Sandy Tipping. It's actually his. He doesn't know that he sold it to me, but it's anyway. But yeah, it's a cool B3. It's actually a
Yeah.
B. It's actually well, yeah. Anyway,
Is it a
it's cool.
C3 or is it?
I believe it's actually a C3. I honestly don't know.
It sounds so, yeah,
I
that's
call
fine
it a
though.
B3 because it basically they're all at this level, they're all kind of the same. That's a terrible thing to say. It's basically a B3. I feel like an
It
idiot because I
sounds
don't
like
know
a
what it is.
B3. Yeah,
But
no,
yeah,
that's fine.
yeah, that's
I'll
funny.
I'll text Gabe and ask him what it was.
Yeah.
Because he crushed that. And like, is
I
that
think
the same?
I think it's
Is
a
that the same?
B2. I think that's actually what it is. It's a B2. I think that's the
Oh, is
correct
it?
terminology.
Okay.
But I had it modified. I had percussion put in it. So that was the other thing that I did.
That's
So,
the thing about that organ that I was gonna say. So is that the
yeah.
same organ that was used on Oliver's solo record? That
Uh
Medeski played, or did Medeski bring something?
No, Medeski did that. He did that Applehead, I think.
Oh, okay, okay. Because the thing that I liked about that sound on Oliver's solo record that I can't remember what track it was, but anyway, uh, the like bubbly nature of the way that organ on that record sounds, like that organ, I felt like had that. Like when Gabe was kind of finding sounds and doing what
Mhm.
he was doing, you know that like gurgle that B3s can get?
Yeah, that crunchy, grindy thing.
Ah, I
Yeah.
love it.
I do
That's like
too.
that's my
Yeah.
favorite thing about. I could listen to that all damn day,
I know.
all
It's
day.
the great it is a great sound. I do love that. When it
Oh,
grinds and it's just going round and round, it just grinds.
mm. Oh god, it's so
Yeah.
good. But anyway, so I mean, I can gush all day, but everybody, if you ever want to go somewhere really cool in Nashville and record, you've got to look up Brook Studio. It's the Studio Nashville. I'll pop this link up there again. I know he said it needs to be updated, but he's also reachable on Instagram. You can hit him up and ask
Yeah.
him about stuff. So,
Yeah, or send me an email. But thanks for that, Mark. I appreciate it. Yeah.
dude, I mean, I want everybody to record there because it's super fun. And I will be back. I don't know if it'll be in 2022, but like we're gonna work again together.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. All right, cool. So, Brooke, you ready to do the lightning round get down?
Oh boy. I'm so good at these too.
All right, so here we go. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna put on a metronome. We're gonna cruise at an altitude about 112 BPM because that feels nice. And I'm gonna ask you 10 questions.
My gosh, you're
And
rushing me. It's so fast.
well, yeah.
Can we do like 110 and a half maybe?
All right, let me see. Come on, man. I can do 110. I can't do 110.5.
110? You can do 110?
Yeah, I can do that. We can drop it down to hip hop and go 90 if you want. It's up to you.
Oh yeah, let's do hip hop. 90.
All
Yeah.
right. Oh, all right, cool.
Oh yeah, I'm feeling that. That's good. That's good.
All right, so 10 questions. You can answer these, just blow through them if you want, or you can explain your answers. I love
Oh
hearing
boy.
explanations, but I'm not going to peer pressure you into giving me an
Okay.
explanation.
All right.
All right. So, my friend, First question's always the same. Lennon or McCartney?
McCartney.
Okay.
No, come on, really? You
Yeah,
can't
really.
do that to me. Oh,
Yeah, I have to. That's what I do.
that's a tough one, man. Yeah, I'm gonna say McCartney.
Yeah, I'm a McCartney
I'll
guy
stick
too.
with it. I'll stick with it.
Yeah, dude. I love Wings too, man. I mean, I have to
I do
say, some
too.
people I freaking love Wings, like because it's
I
all
mean,
Paul.
I'm just gonna say though, the only tipping point for my answer was because I'm a bass player. Paul's a cool bass player. So, but otherwise, if it weren't for that, I might have gone Lennon. It's still a tough decision.
Do you count Paul amongst the most influential bass players that
Oh yeah,
actually reinvented the instrument in terms of how he played melodies and
yeah.
like
I
drove
mean,
song?
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
All the things he did, outline the chords in some of those strange ways. I love it. Yeah, and very
yeah,
melodic. Very melodic. You know.
yeah.
Yeah.
People are still ripping him off and not giving him credit.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Oh yeah.
all right. So for fears, would you rather are heights a thing or small spaces? If you had to choose between those two, what would you rather have?
Height.
Okay. TV theme songs. What's the better TV theme song? Perfect Strangers or Family Ties?
Perfect strangers.
All right, you're playing bass on a gig. You got choice of two drummers. Who's got the deeper pocket? Steve Jordan or John O'Ricks?
John O'Ricks, of course.
All right, upright or electric?
Upright. Ah, they're different instruments, dude.
I know.
All
But
right.
if you had
I'll
to go to a
go.
gig and someone's like, you can bring either or, what are you going to bring?
I'd bring it upright.
Okay.
Bring upright.
Tape or Pro Tools?
Not even going to answer that question. It's got to be tape. It's got to be tape every time.
Maybe we can do that next time I come down. We can
Yeah.
record a tape. That'd be fun.
Well,
I've never done that.
It's not just for the sound of it though either. It's a whole mental process. It's just different.
Yeah.
Different process altogether. That's why
I would love to see you working that. Sushi or tacos?
Sushi.
In-ears or wedge?
Wedge.
Okay. Spider-Man or Deadpool?
Spider-Man.
Okay. And then here's the last one. This is sometimes the easiest, sometimes it's the hardest. So if you could take one album, and this does not have to be your favorite album of all time, but if you could take one album and erase it from your memory, so like you've never heard it before, just so you could go back and experience it for the first time again.
Oh.
What album would that be?
Oh, geez, Mark. To go back and experience it again for the first time. You know what? I will say I really. Oh, this is not a fair question, Mark.
I'm a bastard.
Oh, geez. This is a hard question to answer.
Remember, it doesn't have to be your favorite album of all time. Just anything that you would
Yeah,
want to
I
go
have to
back.
say, I have to say, I really, really dig Pink Floyd's "Wish You Were Here."
Okay, how come?
I just, and actually, not even the studio version as much as the live version from Wembley.
Oh,
Um, so I don't know if that still counts, but it's just,
of
I
course
don't
it
know,
does.
just the way they put that whole thing together and orchestrated it. It's just really beautiful. Just all the segues, the sounds, the melodies, the grooves.
Yeah,
I mean, the sound of it is amazing to me. I like live sound. I like live albums. I think live albums are a lot of fun to listen to.
yeah, me too.
I mean, I like studio albums too. Yeah, I'd like to rediscover that one again. That would be fun. I have so many of those that I could have said, but
Yeah.
that one seems
What
pertinent right now.
What's a close second? What would be a close second? Just curious.
Which genre? A close
I know,
second.
right?
I mean, Led Zeppelin, man.
Yeah.
Led Zeppelin, Led Zeppelin. That's where
Yeah.
James, or yeah, big Led Zeppelin fan.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
there's another great bass player too in that band, so that
yeah.
doesn't surprise me. So,
But I also love Charles Mingus would be another one.
yeah.
Mingus was really cool when I first listened to that. That could also be a second, but I'll. That's a hard question. That's a
I
really hard
love that
question.
question. You know, and when I had Gabe on here, he said Dark Side of the Moon, and I was
Really?
shocked. I thought he was gonna say some Elton record, uh, and he was like, "Dark Side of the Moon, man," and I was like, "Whoa, okay." Like,
Those guys
that's no one said it yet, so that was surprising.
I
But
think what I'm also drawn. I think what I'm also drawn to about the Pink Floyd stuff, especially that particular record, is just the innovation that they did so much, to make
yeah.
all that happen. And I have a deep appreciation for that kind of work. It takes a lot of effort to make what they made. So,
Dude, Have a Cigar is one of the most funky tunes,
oh
like,
yeah, man,
without probably even meaning to be funky, it's funky, you know what
it's
I mean?
funky.
Like,
Yeah,
oh,
it's great.
it's yeah. Did you ever see, so when Les Claypool was doing the whole Flying Frog Brigade, did you ever see those guys play together?
So, the first concert that my wife and I went to was to the CAC in New Orleans, and we saw the Fearless Flying Frog Brigade open up for Galactic. And
Woo!
that was a really fun show. And so, yes, I did get to see that, and that was a lot of fun. I still, actually, I bought that piece of vinyl recently. It was a re-released thing, and I think it was volume 1 or whatever, because volume 2 is where I think, did is it Animals?
I think, yeah, he totally did, because he did, when I saw them, they played that crazy version of Shine On You Crazy Diamond.
Oh, I know, it's amazing.
Oh,
It's killer. It is
dude,
so cool.
so
Yeah.
good, like, so good.
Yeah.
I saw them play that at the, Gathering the Vibes festival, and
Okay.
I think it might have been, like, 2002-ish, maybe 2001, summer, whatever, but that, like, band roster was crazy. It was, like, Bruce Hornsby, Schofield, Les Claypool, Fly on and the Frog Brigade, Ray Manzarek.
Oh, wow.
It it
What
it
a
was
cool fest.
dude, it was nuts. Soul Live, I think,
Yeah.
played, like, it
Oh,
was just
yeah.
MNW played, they closed everything out after
Nice.
Schofield. So it was dude, it was just, like, on fire. But when I heard him play Shine On You Crazy Diamond, I was in another level at that moment, I will say that, Brooke, that's all
Yeah.
I'll say.
Well, good.
But but it was, I mean, because you know how hard that song they
Oh,
played
yeah.
it, they
Oh, yeah.
pushed the tempo hard, and it hits really hard.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, because there's another, speaking of Have a Cigar, the Foo Fighters used to play that a bunch.
Oh, yeah?
And they played it on, like, Late Night with Jimmy Fallon or something like that, and Roger Waters played with them.
Oh, no kidding. I missed that.
Yeah, you check it's on YouTube.
I'll check it out.
It's super cool, but, like, I love when people take it, but I will give Les Claypool the crown for best Pink Floyd cover.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I have to go with you on that.
Yeah.
I'm also a Les Claypool fan. I really love his stuff. He's just quirky enough for me. So,
Yeah. Were you into the Oysterhead stuff at all? Like,
oh, still,
yeah.
I still love that. That's I wish I actually I think they had a kind of a reunion thing, or if that's happening now. Maybe it was
Yeah.
last year. I don't remember. The pandemic's messed up my memory. But uh, I wanted to go down. They were going to play in Atlanta. I wanted to go down, but I couldn't. I couldn't make it work. I was stuck here at the studio. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, I love that. I love that record that they
Yeah,
put out. It's
I guess
awesome.
we didn't even talk about, like, because my roots are in the jam band world, so, like, Trey's been in my life for quite some
Oh
time, but,
yeah,
like, same thing with, like, Stewart, like, so just, like, seeing those 3 dudes together, it's like, "What?"
right.
Like,
I
what are
know.
they gonna do? Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly, exactly.
Crazy.
But that's another thing that I really like about Les Claypool, though, is that he's constantly reaching for something new, and he's bringing different peoples from different different areas of music and putting them together and doing these really original and creative things. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
It's,
he's
you know,
fearless. I love musicians. I think that's why I like him and why I like Charlie Hunter too, because
yeah,
Charlie doesn't give a shit too. He's
no,
like,
just go for it. That's
I'm
right.
gonna put out whatever music I want to put out, and I'm sure it'll be fine. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah,
uh,
it's the way it should be.
yeah,
Should create what we want to create. you know,
100%.
no one should ever
Well,
dictate that.
no, dude, yeah, not at all. And you are a magician helping people do that and put things out in the world. So thank you for what you do. And again, thank you for the experience that I was given, through your lovely room. And it's just like it's a memory that I'm gonna keep with me the rest of my life, dude. So thank you.
Yeah, man. Thank you. That makes me really happy. I always appreciate it when people like you are here, or just people who in general just are genuine about creating and making music. And I really love that because it kind of stays in the room,
Yeah,
so you kind of become a part of it. And that's kind of how all of this started for me, was people coming together and making stuff. And then like, yeah, we need a studio. Let's put it all together. And that's you're part of that. So thank you for being a part
dude.
of that.
I mean, I loved it and I will be back. So
Awesome.
but Brooke, dude, thank you so much for making time, man. I know how busy of a dude you are, and it means a lot to me. So thank you.
Thank you, man. It was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, love to come back.
Yeah, man. So hang tight, everybody. You guys take care of yourself, take care of each other. We'll see you next time.